Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Droozee, and today we have another yellow version solo run, and I'm very excited for this one. Today we're using the pseudo legendary from Gen 1, Dragonite. Professor Oak shows he's an absolute boss as he catches this rare and powerful dragon with no issues. And then we're going to follow him back to his lab out of what I assume is a combination of both fear and respect. Our decision is going to pay off very quickly though, as Professor Oak decides to give a child a dragon, because what could possibly go wrong with that decision? To prove we can be a responsible dragon owner, we're going to get into a fight with our rival right away. And we're going to start this battle with a full complement of moves, and that is one thing that makes Dragonite so interesting because it has Wrap to start, and that's all we're going to do to get the win here. We outspeed and get a 5-turn wrap on our first turn, and then we're going to finish off the Eevee with a second wrap for an easy victory. We're going to be forcing our rival to get Jolteon on this run, as I feel it will be our opponent's hardest Eevee-lution. As we go about our early game errands, let's take a look at Dragonite's learn set. As we saw at the start, we have 4 starting moves, and all of these play very well into a wrap strategy. Leer to lower defense, agility to outspeed, thunder wave to paralyze, and of course, wrap. This is a pretty good starting moveset, particularly when we factor in Dragonite's base stats. It has fantastic base stats behind only Mewtwo for the total base stats for Generation 1. In fact, it also has the highest attack stat in Gen 1. It isn't super fast, but it isn't really too slow either, so I think that sets up pretty well for a Gen 1 run. The rest of the moves we get aren't great. We get moves late and they aren't really new. Really, the best move we get is Hyper Beam at level 60, and this could be really good, but only if we actually reach level 60 in the run, which I'm not sure we're going to do with how well Dragonite is, combined with it being in the slow level up group. Now, as we take a look at the TM and HM list, we're going to see a long list with great type coverage. Dragonite's special isn't amazing, but it is still top 20 overall, so special attacks are definitely viable in this run. With all of these options available to us, I'm hoping that there aren't too many or really any roadblocks for Dragonite in this run. So since we do need to face off against Jolteon, we will have to battle Rival 1A. We only really have battled our lab rival at this point, so we're still going to be level 5 going in. We start off with Leer to try to lower Spear's defense, but instead get hit with Peck and then get our own defense drop because we're being outsped. This leads to another Leer and also a Growl before we take out Spearow. I learn my lesson and go for Thunder Wave against Eevee, but then we get hit by Sand Attack. With our accuracy down, we miss a Leer and get another pile of sand to the face, and this is not great since Wrap is already not 100% accurate. Eevee hits Tackle for huge damage, and we're in real trouble. Eventually, we miss enough and we do go down to another Tackle. That's a very humbling way to start this run, but let's try it once again. This time, we don't mess around and go Thunder Wave first off against the Spearow and get a Leer and a Growl to fail, which is a weird thing from Gen 1 that AI has a 25% chance of all status moves to fail, but we take advantage and make short work of the Spearow. We then get the Eevee to come out, hit Thunder Wave, and we're gonna hit Wrap and hope that we don't get hit with Sand Attack. Thankfully, our rival cooperates, and although we do end up missing a few wraps because, as I mentioned before, it isn't 100% accurate, we have plenty of health this time to outlast Eevee and get the knockout. We're now at level 7 and on track to at least try minimum battles here. Segues are hard, so here's the title for Dragonite. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel and drop a comment or even a couple comments below. And speaking of comments, that comment on minimum battles will not actually hold because Brock resists our wrap and we need to be able to outlast his attacks for when we miss wraps. That means we need to battle all the trainers in Viridian Forest as well as the Light Years trainer. This will give us our best chance to take on Brock without wasting too much time, and we come into the Brock battle at level 11. Thanks to Brock's ground typing, we can't use Thunder Wave to help, not that it would matter too much because he does have 5 full heals per Pokemon. After setting up some Leers, Geodude reliably goes down without doing too much damage, so we're in a good place heading into the Onix battle. Against Onix, our strategy is to play a dangerous balancing game where we drop the Rock Snake's defense while also keeping track of our own defense drops. We're able to get in 5 Leers, but we've also been hit with 2 Screeches during the setup, so we're at -5 defense versus -4 defense for those keeping track at home. For this though, a bind hits us and ends up lasting 4 turns, taking us to red health with only 6 HP left. We get a crit wrap, which isn't great, but it only lasts 2 turns, and then we go to wrap, and we're starting to get into a dangerous place with PP. So we're gonna take a risk, go for a Leer to make it -6. We get hit with Screech, so we're both basically defenseless, but that's not going to matter as our wrap continues to hit, and we're able to take out Onix and get our first badge. That battle was a first try win, but it was also pretty lucky overall. We didn't miss any wraps against Onix, landing all 6 that we went with, which is about a 1 in 3 chance of happening. This is exactly why we needed those extra levels from the trainers though, because without them, we wouldn't have had a chance to win at all. Anyway, let's grab everyone's favorite fish from the guy in the Pokemon Center in front of Mount Moon, throw it into the computer never to be heard from again, and make our way to Cerulean City where we'll face off against Misty first because we should be strong enough and our Pokemon will avoid using water moves against us because of good AI. You may notice that we've deleted Leer in favor of Water Gun, and that's to better counter the rock and ground types we will start to face. Also, Wrap will be dropping off our moveset soon anyway. Until that time though, we need to rely on Wrap to take out Misty Staryu. It takes a while, but a 3-turn critical hit Wrap speed things up, and we have 41 HP heading into Starmie. We're slower than the Starfish, and that is a problem because it sets up Harden to lower the strength of our Wrap. Add in X-Defend, and we really need some crits to do any damage at all. After a couple weak wraps, we hit Thunder Wave to get a speed advantage and slow down Starmie's attacks because we're taking a surprising amount of damage here. I try Water Gun, it does nothing, so we're going to be hoping to get some good wraps here. And while we are slowly whittling down Starmie's health and it's going to end up in red after a couple of long wraps, we are still going to be very close here. Maybe it could work? Well, we miss with wrap and go down to a tackle. Okay, well that wasn't ideal, but I think there are a few better decisions that will fix that. Next battle, we're going to go straight for wrap on Staryu, and we get a crit to start, which allows us to defeat Misty's first Pokemon with much more HP this time. Now we're going to go for Thunder Wave right away to prevent the Starmie from building up its defenses, and from there, we're just going to go for wrap. We probably could have used agility to boost our attack a bit because we would have the Boulder Badge from Brock, but this really worked pretty well, and although it takes a long time, we will eventually end up taking down Starmie with plenty of health, earning our second badge. This battle is a great example of how a good number of my runs go. I'm playing through this first time with most of these Pokemon, so I'm learning the best strategies on the fly. I do have a plan coming in, but really I have no idea how it will work when in game. It does make every run interesting this way, so with Misty completed, we need to now go battle Rival 2. Spearow's out first, we're going to miss our first wrap and get hit with a Leer, but then our second wrap hits and gets a crit. Now's a good time to say in Gen 1, the first hit of multiple hit move, like wrap, is a critical hit. All subsequent hits will also be critical hits. Fun Gen 1 stuff. After Spearow's out of the way, Sandshrew and Rattata are easy to take out with water guns, 1 on Sandshrew and 2 on Rattata, and that leaves us with Eevee. A 3-turn wrap almost does half, and then water gun does very little, opening a stand attack, but we only missed 1 wrap before a critical hit wrap finished off Eevee for an easy victory. That one was pretty easy, but Dragonite is about to take easy to another level because we're going to get some very strong moves soon, and for those of you who've seen any Gen 1 runs before, you'll know that one of the best early moves is in this room in the SSN, TM08, also known as Body Slam. 85 base power, and when we combine that with Dragonite's amazing attack, we have a great recipe for success. The 30% paralysis chance is just a cherry on top that makes this move a turning point in this run. We replace Wrap with this for my sanity, and then we're going to head to battle Rival 3. We accidentally misclick and do a Bubble Beam, which leaves the Spearow with enough damage. Then we Body Slam Rattata, and that's a one-shot. Bubble Beam on Sandshrew, and that's a one-shot. We level up in the process. Body Slam doesn't quite take out Eevee, and it hits us with a sand attack, but thanks to Body Slam's improved accuracy, we make short work of the Eevee, and we beat our rival for the 3rd time. A little bit surprised that the Eevee did tank that Body Slam, but as we get cut and then head over to face Surge, I want to point out that my starters aren't perfect, and that I don't really reset for good IVs, with the one exception being the Weedle run because I needed every advantage I could possibly get there. While using a better or perfect starter would make these runs more repeatable, I prefer to have an experience similar to the first time I played the games growing up. I didn't know about IVs then, so this captures a bit of that experience for me. So as I totally get this puzzle right on the first time and not the sixth time, trying to figure out the exact trash cans or moats are in, let's get to the Surge battle. I don't see this being too challenging. While Surge outspeeds, he wastes that advantage using an X speed, Body Slam does over half, Growl fails, and a second Body Slam finishes him off, and that is the power of Body Slam. It speeds up battles a lot, and then it also makes them more consistent because we don't have to worry about accuracy. Surge has given us Thunderbolt, and we're going to use that right away, and we're going to replace Thunder Wave since it doesn't have as much utility now that we aren't using Wrap Strats. Now we're going to jump ahead to Celadon City, and we're going to go to the department store where we're going to pick up the TM for Ice Beam. Well, I also then forgot we need one for the guards, so we get some water for the guards and head on over to face off Erica with our new TM. We're going to teach Ice Beam over our Bubble Beam because it will give us better coverage, especially against the grass types in the gym. At this point in the video, I also realized that this is the only gym in Gen 1 where you need an HM to actually reach the gym leader. So there's a fun fact of the video. Maybe you already knew that though, and if so, you should tell me you did in the comments. Even if you didn't, drop a comment below. Comments are always a great idea. Well, as I finish my ramble to cover time until the Erica fight, let's jump to it. The strategy here is quite literally use Ice Beam. Ice Beam will take 2 hits on all of her Pokemon, and they will only ever use Acid because according to Erica's good AI, these grass moves are not effective against us because of our flying type. That makes it an easy win and an easy way to claim our 4th badge of the run. Next up on our to-do list is to break up an organized crime ring. Luckily for us, the local casino, Game Corner, is actually run by an organized crime ring. How convenient. After picking up and using the iron here, we do a quick heal just in case before taking on Giovanni number 1. I don't think this heal will be necessary, but better safe than sorry. Onyx is a one-shot with Ice Beam, and we're going to reach level 30 as a result. Rhyhorn is out next, and Ice Beam does enough here as well, and the crit definitely did not matter. Leaves us only with Persian, and this is why I healed, but it turns out it doesn't matter as a single Body Slam crits and takes out the cat after he, of course, used Guard Spec. So yeah, that was one of the easiest Giovanni fights we've ever had on this channel, and we aren't over-leveled or anything. Really showing the strength of Dragonite, and that continues into the Rival 4 battle. I had Ice Beam, so I went for Body Slam on the Fearow, but it didn't end up hurting us. Then Shelter's a one-shot with Thunderbolt, Vulpix is a one-shot with Body Slam, Sandshrew is a one-shot with Ice Beam, and that only leaves his Eevee, who hits a weak quick attack before going down to Body Slam. Complete domination by our dragon here. We can now make our way through Pokemon Tower and jump to Fuchsia to get Surf and Strength. While we're here, we can clear up a couple of the trainers and see how the battle with Koga goes. I think it will be a struggle because we're massively underleveled, but stranger things have happened. We don't really help our chances here by coming in with significant damage already, but it doesn't take too long to see we're going to need more levels before seriously challenging Koga anyway. His Venonats are all 2 or 3 shot KOs, and if we get hit with Toxic like we do here, we have no chance against him. While we might be able to beat him with extremely good luck, I'm not going to spend time on it since we have other options in the form of Silphco Rockets and of course Rival number 5. We're going to make our way to our rival, and this battle doesn't go great, starting with Sandslash hanging on with a sliver against our Ice Beam. That means we've taken some decent damage, and Ninetales comes out next, hits us with a Tail Whip before our Body Slam paralyzes, and that means we can take it out, making our way to Cloyster. We go for Thunderbolt, and it hangs on. Are you serious? Aurora Beam takes us to 3 HP, and that is the 4 times weakness to Ice showing up. Kadabra is out now. We get hit with the Psybeam, and that finishes us off. We are so close to getting one-shots, so we're going to level up to level 38, get to the next damage routing threshold, and try this one again. This time things go much better. Sandslash is now a one-shot with Ice Beam, and Ninetales goes for Roar because it really can't do anything to me thanks to our opponent's good AI. And that lets us set up multiple agilities, and this isn't a badge boost glitch, but actually to make sure we outspeed the rest of his team. After the setup, we complete the knockout with a body slam. Cloyster's now out. We go for Thunderbolt. Are you kidding me? It hangs on, but we get a 10% paralysis chance, which does let us knock it out thanks to full paralysis. But that is so frustrating. Kadabra goes down to a body slam, and Jolteon is out last, and a single body slam, thanks to a crit, also takes it out. That win may have been a bit lucky, but I'm not sure if the Cloyster was a range or not, and even if it had hit us, we're likely to survive anything his Jolteon had hit us with after that. We can now shift our focus to save an international corporation from a hostile takeover when we take on Giovanni #2 for a second time, which starts with an Ice Beam freeze on Nidorino. This allows us to set up some agilities. Although I don't think we need it, I'm feeling pretty confident here. And Persian takes massive damage from a body slam, and now we are pretty much set as a few more Ice Beams should be all that's needed. It goes to plan with Rhyhorn, and then Nidoqueen also gets frozen, which is fantastic. And that allows us to defeat Giovanni. And let's be honest, this crime boss has spent way more time on his criminal enterprise than training his Pokemon, so we're able to get an easy win. Company saved, we can now make our way back to original quest to becoming Pokemon League champion, starting with a battle against Koga. We didn't fare too well against him last time, but with a few more levels and Dragonite's base stats, it might be enough to get us over the top. We outspeed his first 2 Venonats and take them down easily with 2 body slams, and we've only taken 8 damage. This is an amazing start, and it continues when the 3rd Venonat only gets off a weak Psychic before we take it out with another pair of body slams. Only Venomoth left now, and I think we got this. I'm gonna go for Ice Beam, hoping we get a freeze, but a critical hit Psychic from Venomoth does so much damage. This battle turned quickly, and a double team causes us to miss with Ice Beam, and then we get hit with Toxic. Our Ice Beam does take it under half health, but Ice Beam is not doing enough, and I realize that all too late, and by this time our accuracy is not going to be good enough, and we're going to go down to Toxic damage. Well, I guess a key takeaway from that is that Toxic and Double Team is a great combo. The other key takeaway is that messing around with Ice Beam was probably unnecessary. Body Slam is just better with Dragonite right now. So on the rematch, we did get our special dropped, which boosts our attack thanks to Badge Boost Glitch, but we're focusing only on Body Slam. Oh, Gen 1 miss right there. But that's not going to hurt us as Koga goes for 2 X attacks, which allows us to finish off Venonat. Venomoth is back out again now, and we're going to go for Body Slam as he goes for X attack, and it does just under half. We get hit with Toxic, but thankfully he saves his double teams and doesn't use it, allowing us to knock out his Venomoth. That was a 3-hit KO on Venomoth, which, fun fact, would have been enough to get the KO last battle. So yeah, that one's on me, but it is the exact reason I use in-game time and not real-world time when looking at these runs. Sometimes I make awful strategic decisions, and it would be horribly unfair to punish Dragonite for that. With that in mind, we have 5 badges, and now we need to decide on Sabrina or Blaine, and I'm going to take on Sabrina. I think both would be pretty easy, but our strong attack and her weak defense seems like a good matchup. We avoid accuracy loss with Abra, but we get hit with Kinesis by Kadabra before Psywave misses, and we take out Kadabra with a single body slam. Alakazam is out, and we outspeed thanks to the agilities. It goes for recover after 1 body slam, but a critical hit body slam is enough to take out Alakazam, earning us our 6th badge and the worst TM in the game, TM46, Psywave. And we're getting rid of that right away, and we're gonna make our way right down to Cinnabar Island after that. As we make our way through the Fire Leader and Quiz Enthusiast Blaine's gym, we aren't going to be battling any trainers here for this run. We are getting all of these questions right to save as much time as possible. After all, Dragonite can use as many advantages as possible after having to use Wrap Strats in the early game. After all, we do need to make sure that Dragonite has the best chance possible to make it as high on the tier list as it possibly can. Now, we've made our way to Blaine, and he's going to lead with Ninetales, and it's going to start with Tail Whip, so that's a free badge boost for us. It won't matter in this battle because a single body slam crits, gets paralysis, and then we finish it off on the next turn. Rapidash is out next, and it growls to lower our attack, and then we get a body slam paralysis and a couple Thunderbolts take it out as well. Arcanine is out and misses takedown and hits us with a weak Fire Blast, and we're using Ice Beam just so I can show off the fact that ice is not resisted by fire in Gen 1. It's a weird Gen 1 thing, but we are able to easily knock out the Arcanine and claim our 7th badge. Even though we're underleveled, it isn't really slowing Dragonite down right now, and I'm really enjoying this run. We can now make our way to face off against Giovanni one final time. Will this be a continuation of our recent success? Probably, but the Nidos have Thunder, which does make me a bit wary. The trio can't damage us, but it could do Sand Attack. It didn't here, and that's the best case scenario. We can move on to the Persian. It hits us with Fury Swipes, it only goes for 2 turns, Body Slam does over half, and Giovanni uses Guard Spec, allowing us to finish Persian off. We level up to level 45 in the process, and we're not going to learn Dragon Rage, because it's not a great move at this stage, and we can take on Nidoqueen. It does tank our Ice Beam. Giovanni uses Guard Spec though, allowing us to finish off the first Nido. Second Nido's out, and it hits a Thunder, and then I remember that Dragon resists the electric attacks, and that means this battle should be pretty easy, even though it's going to take a couple of turns here to finish off Rhydon with an Ice Beam. We get the win and claim our 8th badge. Now, for those of you wondering why Not Very Effective showed up on Thunder, even though it is doing neutral damage, that's a visual glitch from Gen 1. Electric moves aren't very effective against Dragon. It says not very effective because of that, but the dual typing of flying is still considered because electric moves are super effective against flying type Pokemon. Before we get to the Elite Four, we have to battle rival number 6, and I'm really interested to see how this goes because it's a good indicator for how the Elite Four and the champion battles usually end up. Easy rival battle, easy Elite Four. So with that in mind, let's get to this, which starts with an Ice Beam one-shot on both Sandslash and Execute. Now Ninetales is out, and similar to before, we're using Agility to get both badge boosts and to outspeed for the rest of the battle. We get a Body Slam Paralysis, and that allows us to take out the Ninetales pretty quickly. Cloyster is a one-shot with Thunderbolt, thankfully, and a critical hit Body Slam that didn't matter takes out Kadabra. That leaves us with Jolteon. Body Slam does over half, it paralyzes us, but we break through after a Thunder, and that is the battle. That is what I like to see, a first try victory against our rival. I think we still may have some hurdles in the Elite Four, but overall, I think we're set up very well. I think Dragonite may have just made up enough time in the mid to late game to challenge for a top tier spot here. We reach Indigo Plateau at level 49, so we're going to give it a quick shot just to see how we compare. Thunderbolt does good damage, but not as good of damage as Aurora Beam. Oh my goodness. Wow, we're able to take out Dugong and then Cloyster thanks to a crit. And Slowbro uses Amnesia, which allows us to get a Thunderbolt, Super Potion retroactively, and then we get the knockout. Are we gonna actually do this? No, we're not. An Ice Punch is enough to finish us out. That is still a respectable first attempt from Dragonite, so I'm pretty proud of that. Let's jump ahead to our first realistic attempt though. We've leveled up using some rare candies we've collected around Kanto, coming in at level 58. We are able to do much more damage on the attack, even though that crit probably mattered on Cloyster. We still took too much damage from Aurora Beam, and this is not looking good. Jinx is now outsped by our Dragonite, and we take it down with a Body Slam, but a Thunderbolt doesn't do enough for Lapras, and our biggest weakness comes back to haunt us as a single Blizzard takes us down. On our rematch, Thunderbolt takes Dugong to red, triggering a retroactive Super Potion, meaning we avoided damage that time. Thunderbolt against Cloyster crits again, and that's a one-shot. This brings us to Slowbro, where we get the 10% Thunderbolt paralysis, allowing us to set up one badge boost with Agility before we finish off Slowbro. We're on to Jinx now. We go for a single Body Slam, which we know is a one-shot. Now we're on to Lapras to see if that Agility mattered, and we won't ever know because we get a crit with Thunderbolt and take it down. Wow, we beat the trainer who specializes in our biggest weakness without even taking damage. And speaking of biggest weaknesses, Bruno is next. I have no doubt we'll win this one, but will we take any damage at all? There's only one way to find out. Onyx 1 is out, and Onyx 1 goes down to Ice Beam. Hitmonchan is out, and Hitmonchan goes down to a Thunderbolt. Hitmonlee is out, and it goes down to a single Ice Beam. Onyx is out, and also goes down to an Ice Beam. Now we're on to Machamp. Ice Beam gets a crit, but doesn't knock it out. Leer, and that's another flawless victory against Bruno. 2 Elite Four members down and 0 damage taken. This is one of the best starts to an attempt I think I've had in quite some time, but Agatha's next, and we're going to have to rely on our special attacks for her Gengar, Haunter, and Gengar. We go for Thunderbolt first. She swaps into Golbat, which gives us a free KO on her Golbat. Gengar is back out. Ice Beam gets a crit, but doesn't finish it off, and we finally take damage, but it's only 3 before we take it out. Haunter's out next. 2 Ice Beams is enough thanks to a second crit, and we've taken it out as well. Arbok misses with a wrap, and we finish it off with a Body Slam, and at this point, we learn Hyper Beam. I'm going to go ahead and learn Hyper Beam in place of Body Slam, and face off against Gengar number 2, who hits us with a critical Psychic with Special Drop right away. While this could have been a disaster, Agatha's random AI ends up helping us out, and we're able to get a knockout on her Gengar thanks to a crit, and we are now able to move on to face Lance. Since we finally need to heal up after this one, we will do just that, and I'm going to use a couple PP ups on Hyper Beam just in case we miss, as it's only 90% accurate. I don't think we need more than 5 in a single battle, but better safe than sorry. While we're talking about Hyper Beam, I'm going to make a hot take, okay, maybe it's a room temperature take, that this should have been a Dragon move in Gen 1. It's a signature move for Dragonite, and Lance, the Dragon Master, has it on all his team members. It would have given a Dragon move other than Dragon Rage too. But I digress, as we have a battle against the aforementioned Lance to talk about. A Dragon showdown for the ages. The battle starts against Gyarados, who goes down to a single Thunderbolt. Then Dragonair 1 is out, and again it is going to be slayed by an Ice Beam. The same fate falls upon Dragonair number 2. Aerodactyl comes out seeking revenge, hits a critical hit wing attack, and then goes down to an Ice Beam. Dragonite comes out, and our dragon summons all its strength and takes it down with an Ice Beam to prove it's the best dragon in the world. Alright, that might have been a bit dramatic for what that battle really was, but hey, it was pretty much another sweep. Dragonite is really good once it gets going. Now, all that's left is to deal with our rival, and we've done really well recently, so hopefully this will continue and we enter the Hall of Fame. So, with our dragon healed, let's cue the champion's battle music and get this one started. We're going to start off against Sandslash, and while it can hit Slash, and it does to start, it's not too scary for Dragonite, so we're able to set up our agilities right away. This is going to let us have badge boost for the full battle, and then we take out Sandslash with a critical hit Ice Beam that didn't matter. Now Alakazam's out next, and we miss Hyper Beam, but then we connect on Hyper Beam. Luckily we weren't punished too much, and now Exeggutor's out. It does survive, but Barrage misses, and then we take it out with another Ice Beam. Cloyster's out next, and thankfully we get the Thunderbolt one-shot, and we should be in good shape here now. Hyper Beam takes out Ninetales in one shot, and we're on to Jolteon, and one last Hyper Beam is enough to finish off the champion and get us the win. That was such a fun run. I'm actually kind of surprised how much fun I had with Dragonite. The amount of options it had available to it and its high base stats made for a great Pokemon. The only real problems we ran into were not having a great way to get by Brock and being underleveled in the mid to late game. Even with those, Dragonite absolutely dominated this run, but how fast was it? Well, it's an actual time of 4 hours and 26 minutes and a level of 63. While that might not seem great overall, when we look at the tier list, I think it actually compares quite well. Ultimately, I think it makes sense to drop Dragonite into the top tier, but at the bottom of the top tier. The slow start really is the only challenge Dragonite faced, but it was enough to significantly increase its overall time. If you get rid of that aspect though, Dragonite does really perform at a high level throughout the run. So the next order of business is to officially bring out the wheel and see what the next one will be. It was kind to us with Dragonite, but will that trend continue? We'll find out soon as we find out that it is going to be Tentacruel next. I think this one could be another top tier contender. A water type and Tentacruel has good special in Gen 1. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so, make sure to ring the bell to turn on notifications to know when the next video comes out too. And since we all know the YouTube algorithm loves comments, please leave a comment down below. If you've already dropped a comment, you're awesome. That's all for me for this video, and until next time, I'm Droozee, and I hope to see you all again soon.